Hello team, welcome to another ATP Geopolitics video with myself, Jonathan M.S. Pierce. Ukraine War News Update, second part there for the look at the date, 5th of June 2024. It's like one of those people doing the speeches and they go, finish their speech and go, and applause. No, you're not supposed to say that, looking at the teleprompter. Anyway, I digress. Shut up, Pierce, get on with it. Right, this is the military aid, general aid, and equipment video. We'll start with the US proposing a $50 billion loan to Ukraine, which would be repaid using profits of the frozen Russian assets. And that's really important to be able to pay from Russian money rather than taking it out their own coffers, which are going to be pretty much bare at the moment. Contingent on the EU extending sanctions against Moscow indefinitely. These sanctions currently require renewal every 6 months by unanimous consent. The EU seeks this extension to ensure it won't be solely responsible for the repayments. Obviously, the US don't want to be left hanging there. So that looks good if it can all be legally sorted out. And of course, you've got to consider Hungary and Slovakia when talking about unanimous decisions made within the EU, which is why Belgium have been talking about reducing Hungary's voting rights, because they are basically being anti-EU essentially in a lot of what they're doing. But then you have discussions about democracy and the fact that, well, surely they're still entitled to a vote. But the problem is that the structure, the organisation, needing unanimity within 27 member states. I mean, that's a tall order itself. Just the principle of getting 27, not just people to agree, 27 states to agree. Anyway, the Ukrainian government has approved a draft law on ratification of the framework agreement with the Republic of Korea, so South Korea, on concessional loans worth 2.1 billion. So hopefully Ukraine will receive funds from the Economic Development and Cooperation Fund, EDCF, over the next 5 years. The funds will be used to purchase equipment, restoration projects, and to support the needs of the state budget. They need money, the Ukrainians, and lots of it. Iceland contributes an additional $725,000 to Ukraine's energy support fund, bringing its total contribution to $2.96 million. The fund, established in spring 2022, allows Ukraine to repair energy facilities damaged by Russian attacks. The Icelandic people will have, I guess, some expertise with geothermal power plants. And the Ukrainians do have thermal power plants. I presume they're pretty much the same kind of thing. So I don't know if it's not just money, but expertise can be given or helped with. Right, then we have Jake Sullivan announcing that the US are likely to give another military aid package in the coming weeks. So expect something then. Be interested to see what is in that. Obviously, you will need consistent aid packages full of ammunition. They go through that ammunition very quickly, and that's going to be a lot of what the packages are on a continual basis rather than big ticket items. Nonetheless, always interesting to see US aid packages. Lockheed Martin and Romanian company Aerostar SA have opened Europe's first HIMARS sustainment centre in Bacău, Romania. It will perform maintenance on HIMARS operated by Romania and NATO partners. Other current and future European HIMARS operators include Poland, Ukraine, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, and Italy. So there's a growing number of countries that use a HIMARS. Now, I talked about this the other day. This is one of these things where something gets announced that it might happen, and then the next day it's like, oh, it's happened. In other words, it's very similar to announcements of material that goes to Ukraine. The US are going to give 500 widgets to Ukraine. And then that day, oh look, there's a 500 widgets in a box. Oh, they've got it already. Oh, there you go. I told you that. And you expect when they announce it, it's going to be like a month or two. But actually, that means it's all to do with operational security. You don't want to announce something and then wait for espionage to happen or sabotage to happen, in the transport of that thing. You want to get it there in secret and then announce, oh, by the way, we're giving this. It's exactly the same principle I would have thought with the construction of something like this, which is actually you need it still operationally secure. So it's announce it after you finish building it. So we heard the rumors this is going to happen. Like, I think I announced it on my news piece 2 days ago, and then 2 days later it's like, oh yeah, no, we've opened it. is done. It was like we weren't just building it; we built it, and now it's here. So that's good news. So HIMARS can then go to Romania rather than all the way back to the US to be fixed, as we've seen previously with those 2 HIMARS that were packed on a plane and sent back to the States. So far, unknown loss of a German-delivered Marder 1A3 infantry fighting vehicle, reportedly in the Donetsk region of Ukraine, says German aid to Ukraine. The Marder 1A3 got disabled due to a first hit of an FPV drone and destroyed due to a second hit of an FPV drone after the crew abandoned it. Now, we saw 2 of these on the lost list today from Anju Perpetua. So 2 Marders lost today or within the last 24 hours or so. Within the next 3 months, the German government and Rheinmetall plan to deliver another 40 Marder 1A3 IFVs to Ukraine to first strengthen Ukrainian air assault forces and second, of course, compensate for previous losses. So there have been a few lost, but as someone says here, Matt Müller, with the Bundeswehr, so the German army, now operating 350 Puma and a further 50, plus an option for another 179 on order, do you think they will start to turn over some or all of their 262 remaining Marder 1A3s to Ukraine? The Marder was meant to be phased out of service in 2025 since the Puma replaced it. German aid to Ukraine says we will definitely see more deliveries of Marder 1A3 IFVs after. And this is kind of what we've seen with France, but France have formally said we will give all of our obsolete, or at least option all of our obsolete equipment to Ukraine. And I think that's eminently sensible. I think the UK have done that to some degree with stuff that we're phasing out or have phased out. So it will be good news to see Marders, the pretty decent infantry fighting vehicles, and get a bunch of those over to Ukraine, and that will help them out a lot. Now, staying on Germany based, as Michael Weiss says. So what's this? So the question to this is Mary Agnes Strack-Zimmermann. She's chair of the Defense Council of the German Bundestag. She was asked what happens if a Russian fighter jet is shot down by a Western weapon in Russian airspace. She says, well, it only means that Russia will have one less plane. Go figure. I think it's brilliant. You know, good stuff from her in that respect, to answer in such a forthright manner. Like we're concerned with Ukraine prevailing. So if they shoot down a plane in Russian airspace, that's one less Russian airplane, and that's what it means. Doesn't mean it's escalation and all. So she is being really strong at the moment on support for Ukraine. And indeed, in light of Russia's offensive in Kharkiv Oblast and intensified attacks on civilians, Bundestag Defense Chair backs Germany's decision to allow Ukraine to strike Russian military targets, but emphasised that this decision should have happened much earlier. So not only is she saying, yeah, I've got no problem with that, shoot down the Russian airplanes, but man, we should have been allowing this a lot sooner than we have. Good news, good strong support there from certain German politicians. Right, US Embassy in Kyiv has sent a notice out overnight for dual US-Ukrainian citizens, warning that as of 1st of June, Ukraine eliminated a residence abroad exception that allowed some men aged 18 to 60 to leave. Now, dual US-Ukrainian citizens, including those who live in the US, may no longer be able to depart Ukraine. This is the latest measure taken by Ukraine amid its push to mobilize more men for its war effort. They are really tightening up on mobilization, as you would expect, given the situation they're in. So stuff like this is hardly surprising. It will be a bit scary for some of those people that thought they had the ability to escape mobilization through having dual citizenship, but alas, not to be, certainly if you have dual American-Ukrainian citizenship. Anyway, that's it for me today. Not too much news on this front. I will get on with the geopolitics video, and I'll try and squeeze out an extra today as well. That's my intention.